Ma'am, before you have a seat, I'll swear you in if you raise your right hand. Please do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and when you're settled in, we'll have you state your full name and spell the last, please.
Katherine K. Fox, Fox.
Thank you. Ms. Ziderby?
Thank you, Honor. Ms. Fox, do you know Linda Stermer? How did you know Linda Stermer?
We met through our children.
How did your children spend time together?
My daughter was a cheerleader and her son played football.
So they went to school together?
They did.
And was there a time that you worked with Linda Stermer?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was, when you started working with her?
Roughly June of '06.
Had you been working there prior?
No,
Did you both start on the same day?
we did. We interviewed and started on the same day.
And what place of employment are we talking about?
Chemlink, that was first located in Kalamazoo and then moved to Schoolcraft.
And how well did you know her before you started working together?
I'd only known her for a few months.
So it was really just more through your children?
Well, once we started talking, we hit it off pretty well. We were friends.
Did you have some common interests?
Besides the kids, horses, we went to auctions together. We bought a lot of furniture. I refinished old furniture, so we went to the auctions and bought old furniture.
And you said something with horses. Did you do
She
something?
had horses. My daughter was horse crazy, so we spent time there for my daughter to be able to ride and things.
Did you go any horse shows or pick up horses or anything like that with her?
No, I didn't have much to do with that part of it.
So you started working on the same day. Did you end up carpooling together to go to work?
We did.
Did you
Because
start that right?
we both lived in Lawrence, and it was quite a drive to Kalamazoo.
Did you start that right away?
Yes,
So as soon as you got the job?
pretty much, yes.
So that would have been June of about 2006, you said.
Yes,
Did you guys get close as you were spending time together?
yes,
And did you talk a lot in the car?
yes,
Did you talk about Linda's marriage?
yes.
What did she tell you about her marriage?
She told me that her husband was abusive to her. She was very unhappy in her marriage.
Did she say she wanted out of the marriage?
Roll that.
Yes, she said she wanted out of the marriage.
Did you see any evidence of any physical abuse on Ms. Stermer at all?
Not once, not ever.
At some point, did she talk to you about Chris Williams?
She did.
And what did she tell you about Chris Williams?
They were having a relationship.
Do you know when that started?
I am not sure. I don't know how long after it started before she talked to me about it.
Was it shortly after you started working there?
It was at least a couple of months.
And what did she say about Chris Williams?
That he was extremely important to her.
How did she describe her feelings for him?
She wanted to be with him.
Do you recall ever overhearing any conversations between her and Mr. Williams?
Yes, they talked pretty much every night on the way home on the phone.
In your car?
She usually drove.
So she talked as you guys were driving back and forth?
Yes,
Did she say if this relationship was sexual?
she did.
What'd she say about it?
She said it was the best lover she ever had.
Your Honor, it's what the defendant said. She's describing her relationship.
Still relevance.
I find it relevant.
And it's
As
showing
opposed
she's
to-
gone on examination under oath, saying
allow
she
it.
has, thank you, Your Honor, So she said that he was the best lover she ever had.
Yes.
Did you know where Mr. Williams lived?
I had occasion to go there with Linda. I never went inside the house, but I did sit in the car while she went inside after work a few times.
How long were you sitting outside?
Half hour, 45 minutes.
Did she say what she was doing inside?
It seemed implied. I didn't ask.
And she told you that's Chris's house?
Yes.
At some point, did the police contact you about Mr. Williams?
About him,
Or ask you about him?
when I talked to them, yes.
Did you tell them where Mr. Williams lived?
I believe so.
Were you aware of any phones that Linda had?
Yes.
And what did she have in terms of phones? that
She
you
had
saw?
one phone that was the phone that her family knew about and another phone that they didn't,
And how did you know that the family didn't know about that phone?
because she told me that.
Did she tell you where she kept it?
Sometimes she left it at my house, and sometimes she told me she had found a spot underneath the dash in her Blazer where she could put the phone.
Did you hear her talking on that phone?
Yes,
And who was she talking to?
Chris.
I want you to think about an incident at Thanksgiving prior to the fire. Did you call the police?
I did. That was in 2006.
So just a little less than 2 months before the fire, correct? If I told you the fire was
Yes,
January 7th
yes.
of 2007? And can you tell the jury then why you called the police?
I called the police because she called me hysterical and said that she had a gun and wanted me to give her one good reason not to shoot him,
Not to shoot him?
not to shoot Todd. And I did my best to calm her down, but at the end of the conversation, I still wasn't comfortable that things had calmed down, and so I called the police.
Did you know she had a gun prior to that?
I didn't. I'd never seen a gun.
Had she ever talked about shooting him before that?
She talked about various ways that she had thought about getting rid of him.
What did she say to you?
She talked about shooting him. She talked about running over him with her car, poisoning him.
And she talked about all this with you.
Yes.
And why was she talking about this? I'll rephrase.
Yep, that's sustained.
What was the context of that conversation?
Generally, it was when she was talking about how unhappy she was in her marriage.
She ever talked to you about Todd being suspicious of her?
Not until late in '06. It was late in '06. She said that she felt like he was getting suspicious.
She talked to you about a post office box?
Yes, I actually went with her when she opened that post office box.
Why, what was,
Because she had credit cards and phone bills and things that Todd didn't know about, and she had the bills sent to the post office box so that he didn't see them.
and you went to that post office box?
I did. There were several occasions when I went and got the mail out for her and gave it to her.
So you actually picked it up for her?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Todd Stermer, if any?
From when our friendship started, she had told me that he was jealous of the time that we spent together and that he didn't like me, so I didn't have contact with Todd.
And that was because of what she said to you?
Yes.
After the fire, Did you talk to her about the fire?
I asked her about it. She told me that her attorney had advised her not to discuss it.
So you didn't have any conversations
We
with her
did
about
not,
it?
no.
Did she ever say anything about Todd being run over by a van?
She did.
What'd she say?
She told me that she had run over him with the van.
Did she tell you why?
No. Well, she said it was smoky and she didn't see him, that he had run out of the house, and she was trying to get in the van to go for help.
Had you talked to Kathy Ilg about any concerns you had?
Yes. I told her I felt like I needed to speak to the police, but there was so much sympathy for her at work at that point after the fire that I didn't feel like I could go to them directly.
So you didn't want to go directly?
No, I didn't want anyone to know that I had contacted them because it would have made my life really hard at my job.
After the fire, did Ms. Stermer ever give you her locker keys from work?
She took some time off after the fire, and she said there were things in her locker that she needed me to take out for her.
Do you recall what those items were?
I never looked at them. It was just a bag of stuff that was in the locker.
And then where did you take those?
I took them home with me.
Were you able to give them back to her?
Eventually, initially they had been set on top of a trunk in my house. Someone had opened it at some point and the bag had fallen behind it and I couldn't find them. And she was very angry.
What was she saying to you?
She accused me of stealing them or keeping them intentionally.
Were these paper items or were they items?
It felt like a bag of mail.
Eventually, did you find those items?
I did.
Did you give them back to her?
I did.
Did you store anything at your house for her?
Like I said, occasionally the phone, before the post office, sometimes bills, phone bills.
When you talked to deputies about Mr. Chris Williams, were you able to describe his vehicle?
Yes.
And you also then knew his address?
Well, I didn't know the exact address, but I knew how to get there. I'm not very good with streets in Kalamazoo.
So you just told them the location?
Basically, yes.
Did Linda ever ask you to lie for her when she was with Chris?
Like I said, I had no contact with Todd, so no.
Did you ever have any further conversations about what happened on the fire, the day of the fire, or about her running him over?
No, I'm pretty sure she only told me that the one time. And honestly, I didn't want to know.
Did Linda call you a few days after the fire and ask you to go out to the scene?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how long. It was shortly after the fire. She called me. It was late at night. It was pouring rain, and she said she needed me to bring a flashlight and come out to the house because there was a coffee cup in the dishwasher that had not been run, and she needed to find that cup because it had tranquilizer in it, and she didn't want the investigators to locate it.
At some point, did your relationship start to dissolve?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury why your relationship started to dissolve?
I had loaned her $5,000 because she told me that her mortgage was about to default and she was going to lose her house. And I had gotten paperwork in the mail for a signature loan for $5,000. So she asked me if she could borrow the money and said that she would make the payments on it. and that it would help build my credit. So I did. I took the check, I signed it, I went to my bank, I deposited it, and I had a bank draft drawn up to Linda Stermer for the $5,000.
So you gave her then the entire $5,000?
I did.
And this was a loan in your name?
Yes.
And you did it, why?
I didn't want her to lose her house.
And are you talking about the house that had burned, or are you
Yes.
talking about it? Okay. But it was your understanding she needed this money to keep that?
Yes.
And keep the property,
Yes.
is that right? Okay. And once you gave her the money, it was your understanding she was gonna make payments?
Yes.
And did that occur?
No.
How did you find that out?
Several months later, one of the bills came, because I hadn't even been opening them, I was just giving them to her. A bill came and it said final notice, so I opened it and realized that not one single payment had been made.
And
So-
again, this was just in your name.
Yes.
So what did you do once you found this information out?
I confronted her at work,
And where did you confront her at work at?
in the bathroom.
In the bathroom? And tell me what happened during that conversation.
She looked me in the eye and said she never borrowed money from me.
And what did you do?
I was angry. I yelled. I was very verbally abusive. I was very angry.
Because now you had to pay that $5,000 back.
Yes.
And what did Ms. Stermer do then when you became angry with her?
She said a couple of things before she walked out of the bathroom, like, stop touching me, get away from me. And then she went out of the bathroom, and I followed her into the hallway and continued basically yelling at her.
Did you both get in trouble at work?
No,
You didn't get in any trouble?
no,
Was that the last time you talked to her?
that would, probably,
Any substantial conversations after that?
not that I recall.
Did she ever pay you back?
No.
Who's Steve Benny?
My brother.
When was the last time you had a conversation with your brother?
My mom's funeral in 2001, until I introduced him to Linda in 2007.
And then you introduced him to Linda?
Yes. He had property and she needed a place for her horses to stay.
So you connected the two of them?
So I connected the two of them so they could make that happen.
Did you talk to your brother anytime after that?
No,
Have you seen him?
no.
Now
Only
you're
at
gonna-
funerals, and we don't have conversation.
So from 2001 to 2007, there was one conversation about connecting him with Linda?
Basically, my brother and I have never been close.
Anything else that Ms. Stermer told you over the course of your friendship about either the house or her relationship or Chris Williams that I failed to ask you about?
I don't think so.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
I just want to get a couple housekeeping things done from what a prior witness said. You and Linda, as I understand it, you started at ChemLink on the same day, June 5, 2006, sound right?
That sounds right. Sometime in that area.
Linda helped you get the job, right?
Yes.
You two worked the second shift?
Yes.
Right. I used to work in a factory once. Would second shift be 3 to 11?
Yes.
And Chris Williams, he worked the first shift, am I right?
Yes, he did.
What would the first shift be?
7 to 3.
Okay. He was a truck driver. Do you know whether he was in the same building as you
It was all one building.
in Schoolcraft?
Yes.
But he'd be leaving as you were coming on, correct?
Yes.
And you and Linda became almost like best friends, am I right?
I thought so.
Chris Williams, you're saying Linda had started having a relationship with him, all right?
That's what she told me.
Okay, do you remember when it started?
Specifically, no. Like I said, I don't know how long it had gone on before she mentioned it to me.
Do you recall, well, it wasn't a big secret around Kemling, was it?
That they were seeing each other?
Yeah.
I don't think it was common knowledge. There were a handful of people that may have known.
All right, we'll return to that. Let me just make sure I get this timeline right. You start June of 2006 with Linda, right?
Yes.
Working the same shift, going to work, traveling every day, because you both worked long ways from
Yes.
Schoolcraft. Then in Thanksgiving of 2006, November of 2006, there's this incident that happens that you told us about, right?
Yes.
Where you're the one who called the police, am I right?
Yes.
Because Linda, you said, I think said she had a gun and give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot this guy to death.
Yes.
Right. That's what you told the Michigan State Police. You called them.
I called 911. Who I talked to, I couldn't say.
Okay. Let me show you, if I may approach, Your Honor. Thanks. You testified in a prior hearing, am I right?
Yes, I did.
Under oath,
Yes, sir.
subject to the penalty of perjury,
Yeah,
and you swore to tell the truth,
I did.
and you did tell the truth in
Do you
that
have a
hearing.
question?
And you did tell the truth.
Yes,
That's the question.
I did tell the truth.
Thank you. I want to turn your attention to page 192, if I may. Are you there?
Yes.
And there are a bunch of numbers, of line numbers on the sides. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Question was asked, you told the police that there was a gun involved in that incident. Ma'am, are you sure? Your answer was, they specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew if there were any firearms in the house. And I stated at that time, yes. See that?
She told me she had a gun.
Listen to my question.
Okay.
That was the question and answer you gave under oath, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Then the question, that there was a firearm in the house or that there was a firearm being involved in the incident. And your answer was, you told them that I knew there were guns in the house. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
That
I
was
don't
your-
remember saying guns, but I
Excuse me.
did say there was a gun in the house.
That was your testimony under oath, right?
Yes.
And when you swore to tell the truth and you gave that answer to that question, it was the truth.
Yes.
And you knew that at that time, you need to make sure you're telling the police detailed information so they can help your friend.
I told them what she told me.
Okay. Isn't it true? There's nothing in here about, give me one reason why I should shoot that guy. Why I shouldn't shoot him.
One,
Am I right?
what are you saying?
Nothing in that transcript that where you swore to tell the truth that I just read says anything that you told the police about Linda saying, give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot that guy. Am I right?
I thought that I had.
Question was, am I right in the questions and answers that I read?
I,
She's trying to review the document you gave her.
I just asked her to look at those questions and answers.
Well, why don't you let her finish and then you can ask your question.
I did tell them that she told me she had a gun.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, this is November of 2006, I want to speed forward a little bit to the timeline. In January of 2007, right at the time of the fire, you had been hospitalized, am I right?
Yes,
You had been hospitalized in a psychiatric facility,
Yes.
am I right? And you were diagnosed with severe depression,
situational depression.
Your Honor, I guess I'm just going to object, unless this would affect her memory, I don't know if we really need to go into her medical history.
she was hospitalized for a psychiatric condition. It goes to what she remembers and what she's able to tell us now.
I don't think he's
About the
established
time of the fire.
That anything that happened to her affected her memory.
Relevance in
I'm not-
401.
I'm not seeing the relevance, so I'll sustain that
Thank you,
objection.
Your Honor.
Then the fire happened, am I right?
Yes,
January 7. And then you have told our jury that your friendship dissolved over a loan of $5,000. You remember that?
I do.
And that culminated in a big verbal argument.
Yes,
All right. That big verbal argument happened July 31 of 2007.
yes,
All right. You had found out shortly after, or before that Linda wasn't making payments on this loan you had made, right?
shortly, very shortly before that.
Because you were hot, right?
Yes, I was angry.
Okay. And that's the reason your friendship dissolved.
There were a lot of things that led up to that, but that was the last straw.
Okay. Now, I want to direct your attention to your testimony. Again, you have that with you, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Say yes. Page 201, line 5 to 13. Let me know when you're on page 201
Line 5,
to 13.
like I said, there were a lot of things that culminated in the relationship ending, but yes, I recall testifying to that.
When you were interviewed by Detective Rauch, and you gave this testimony under oath at that hearing, you were asked, isn't it true that you told Detective Rauch, when you were interviewed by her on May 17, 2007, that your relationship with Linda Stermer pretty much dissolved in February of 2007, after she had received so much sympathy from her coworkers, and Linda was transferred from second shift to first shift, and this angered her, you,
Yes,
because the plan had been for the two of you to move together to first shift. Isn't that true? And your answer was?
yes,
Yes. So your relationship dissolved in February of 2007 because you were angry that she had gone to
I
first
wouldn't
shift.
say it dissolved at that point. We still had contact after that. Not nearly as often, and we were still working together
That fact that
at
she,
the same place.
the fact that she went to, well, she was on first shift now and you were on second. True?
Yes,
Okay. Now, my question is, not only did it anger you, you felt betrayed, didn't you?
I started to realize how many lies she had told me.
Because you think she lied when she made you this promise, or you guys talked about, we're gonna go to first shift as a package deal?
Yes, and she never even gave me a heads up that she was changing or talking to anyone about changing shifts.
Do you understand that on January 7, she lost her husband and her 3 teenage kids lost their father?
I know, I feel bad for her kids.
And so she had to take care of 3 teenage kids who are school-aged, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes,
And you understand that she asked management, can I change shifts so that I can accommodate the school schedule? True?
true.
And so you felt betrayed by that, as she lied to you?
It sounds petty. That sounds petty,
Well,
and it was much bigger than that.
turn to, you did feel like she lied to you, right?
Often, yes.
No, about that.
About that specifically, yes.
Then, in May 11 of 2007, Linda accused you of spreading rumors at work that she had killed Todd. Isn't that right?
I may have talked to somebody about that, yes,
Yeah, you may have talked to a woman named Jen, a coworker.
possibly.
Well, possibly. Let's look at if I can refresh your recollection. If I may approach, Your Honor. I'll have you read this. Let me have you read that asterisk paragraph. You don't read it yourself.
That sounds right.
That refresh your memory now? Ma'am?
I don't remember who Jen was, but yeah.
It refreshes your
I know I talked to someone, I just didn't remember the name.
Okay. That you were accused by Linda of telling another coworker by the name of Jen that Linda killed her husband. True?
Yes, because I believe that's what happened.
Excuse me, ma'am. You can understand how someone might be upset when a coworker is spreading rumors at work that she was a murderer. You can imagine how upsetting that might be. True?
Sure.
So that's May 11, and then right after that, you and Kathy Ilg get this idea of you want to go to the police to tell the police things, but you don't want it to come back on you. Is that fair?
Yes.
So you told Kathy, I need you to make a phone call.
Well, I didn't tell Kathy. I discussed it with Kathy, and Kathy offered to call them and have them come to me.
Okay, so Kathy offered to be the go-between between you and the police, am I right?
Just for that incident.
In May of 2007.
Yes.
Then you had Officer Rout come to your work, am I right, to interview you?
Yes.
Even though at that time you lived about a mile from the MSP post. True? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
And you also lived about 5 minutes from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, right?
Yes.
You could have certainly gone down there. Yes?
The point was to avoid conflict with people at work that were feeling sympathy for her.
Okay. So that's why you had the police
Come to me.
come to work for this big show that the police are talking to you while you wanted to avoid conflict with the people at work.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Then we have this issue that happened because of the loan, right, where you confronted Linda in the bathroom
Yes.
at work, right?
Yes.
And you got verbal,
I did.
but it didn't get physical.
I never touched her.
Never touched her. Yet you were convicted for assault.
I pled no
excuse me.
contest because she had already convinced the police that I had done that.
The question is this: you were convicted of assault.
Object on this. I don't really know what the point of talking about convictions is, if it's relevant or not relevant.
She already
It has nothing
said-
to do with truth.
She said she never laid a hand on it, Linda.
Is this out of this incident?
Yes.
The assault? I'll allow it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I guess I'm also then concerned that assault can mean also not,
Oh, right.
it can also mean being put in fear of. It doesn't necessarily prove that there was any sort of battery.
Right.
So I also would ask for an instruction on that for the jury so that they understand what an assault and battery is, and it could simply be just.
Your Honor, I don't know if we need a speech instead of a legal objection.
Okay. There's been a legal objection. In light of the prosecution reminding me of the elements of the assault, I find it more confusing than
Well,
relevant.
let me see if I can clarify this.
So I'm not allowing you to go into that anymore.
Okay. Right after this incident, you contacted the police again, Detective Rout, am I right?
Yes.
Now, you said that Linda Stermer asked you to close out her post office box, am I right?
clean out her post
No.
office box.
And you closed it out though, didn't you?
I don't remember if I took everything out or if I actually closed the box. I think I originally said that I closed the box, so I assume that's what I did. It's been a long time.
Understood. Closing the box means closing the account because she didn't want
Right.
Todd to find out.
But I, like I said, was with her when she opened that post office box.
You weren't a signer on the box. It was her box.
I had a key.
You had a key, and every now and then she'd give you a key for that post office box, and if you needed to get stuff for her, you did.
Yes.
Are you telling our jury that the U.S. Post Office in Pawpaw,
Yes.
that the federal government, the U.S. Postal Service, allowed you to close out a box for a third party?
I don't think she'd have any knowledge of what the post office is doing. I think she can talk about her actions and what she did. I don't think she knows what the post office did.
This is impeachment. This is cross-examination. I'm allowed to get into this.
If you lay a foundation
Yes.
that she knew.
Have you ever opened a post office box before? Ever?
Yes, once in South Haven.
And when in South Haven, did you ever close that box?
Yes.
And when you open the box, you have to show ID, don't you?
I don't remember. That would have been in the 80s.
You wouldn't know if you just simply say, I'm Kate Fox, I'd like to open a box, and they give you one.
If I had to show ID, I'm sure I did.
And you have to fill out some type of form or application. They don't just give you a key, right?
Right.
When you closed your box, you had to prove it was you. True?
Your Honor, I prefer if you'd ask her if she remembered, because it appears
Your Honor,
that
we don't need a
she's
speech.
struggling with her memory on what actually occurred. By putting words in her mouth.
That's specific.
Ma'am? Everyone can't talk at the same time, okay? So what is the question right now, Mr. Mueller?
Question is, well, let's say, did you ever testify under oath that the U.S. Postal Service allowed you to close a postal box for another person?
I'll allow that question for
Yes.
impeachment.
You testified to that under oath,
Yes.
but you don't know if they actually would allow you to do that, right?
I believe they did.
Okay. Do you recall having?
I know I cleaned the box out that day.
Do you recall showing ID to the postal office that day? You remember
I
cleaning out the
don't
box?
remember whether I had to show ID or not.
You don't recall what you had to do, am I right?
Right.
Now, this issue of a coffee cup that Linda talked to you about, she needed to get in, right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Because she wanted, I think you told us that the coffee cup had tranquilizer in,
Yes.
right? But she didn't give any tranquilizer to Todd
She
Stermer.
told me she didn't give it to him because she found out that he had already taken something for sleep.
Okay, he took something for sleep. Are you aware, do you have any evidence to corroborate for our jury that Linda Stermer told you any of this?
No, I don't.
Are you aware that Dr. Markey, the medical examiner, has testified Todd Stermer didn't have any drugs in his system, none, except caffeine?
Your Honor, that's not correct statement of what was actually found by Dr. Markey. There were drugs found in his system, and he listed them out on the toxicology.
In his system is in the blood, active in his system. Council knows that.
I think asking her about what the doctor found is inappropriate.
No, I just asked if she was aware of it.
No, I wasn't aware of it.
Man, do you think you're a truthful person?
Yes, I do.
Do you think you're a deceitful person?
No.
Well, wouldn't it be a little bit sneaky when you went with Kathy Ild to call the police?
I'm going to object to this. I don't understand what this line of
It
questioning
goes to right to
is.
credibility.
I
It's
think
argumentative.
Goes
maybe a
right-
different word besides sneaky. It looks like you're going for truth and deceit.
Would it be deceptive that you went through a third party to talk to the police?
It didn't feel like it at the time.
Not to you.
Not to me, no.
So you don't feel like you're deceptive or untruthful?
I felt like I needed to talk to them.
This question is, you don't feel like you're untruthful, right?
No,
And you don't feel like you're deceptive, right?
no.
Your Honor, asked and answered. I'd ask you to move on.
There's an objection asked and answered. I'm sustaining.
Thank you. Would your siblings agree with you?
Not my brother, but I don't have a relationship with my brother. My
That would-
sister would tell you that
And
I'm
would be-
honest.
And that would be Steve, right?
Yes, it would.
Steve Benny.
Yes.
Thank you. Give 1 second.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that Attorney Mueller was asking you about your prior testimony and whether you had talked to them about whether she said she had a gun.
Yes.
And do you recall looking at the testimony then? I'm going to actually have you go through all of your answers on that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and just say yes instead of on your head.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, so I'm going to have you read to me, because I believe he was concentrating on particular lines.
Okay.
And so I'm going to have you read from 15, line 15, which I believe he was talking to you about. And I'm going to actually have you continue down to line 24. If you could just read that.
Page are we on?
The same page you had, I believe it's 192.
All right, the question, you didn't tell the police and things.
Ma'am, why don't you just read it to yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I want her to read because he made her read the two statements and he excluded another statement that she made.
So, okay. Question, you didn't tell the police in Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? Answer, yes, I did. You told the police that there was a weapon involved. I told them there was an assault, that she told me she had a gun.
Thank you. So that's the full and complete answer that you were trying to give, is that
Yes.
correct? And that's from the same page that Attorney Mueller had you read from.
Yes.
Do you know if everybody worked like in different roles and at ChemLink? Do you know if drivers were on the same shift as people on the line?
I think they had a few people from each department on both shifts, but I'm not positive about that. The drivers may have only worked in the morning, I don't know.
So you don't know? if
I
they
didn't
had-
know them personally.
You only know what your shift was?
Right.
But you don't know what drivers' shifts or what other employees' shifts are?
No.
And I guess I just want to understand the dynamics at work after the fire were not good.
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
There was a little tension,
Yes.
there was stress,
Yes.
and you wanted the police to come to you versus you reaching out to the police.
Yes.
And why did you want that?
Because I had to continue to work with the people that I worked with, and like I said at the time, they were very sympathetic of her situation.
And you didn't want to look like the bad guy,
Right.
but you felt this information needed to get to the police?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. Ma'am, because everybody was sympathetic with Linda Stermer, who lost her husband, you were upset about that?
I wasn't upset about it. I just didn't want to end up on the wrong end of it. I didn't want them to see me as the enemy.
Okay. But.
But
you
I
were-
didn't feel the same way that everyone else did, no.
Okay. And that's why you had the police come to you instead of you going to the police, so you're away from the employees that you didn't want to be looked bad upon?
I don't understand your
Yeah,
question.
bad question. Sometimes I do that. Instead of going to the Van Buren County sheriffs who live or who are 5 minutes from your house or the Michigan State Police, which is a mile from your house, you had them go about a half hour to your work, am I right?
Yes,
And that was, you were afraid that the employees would see you were talking about Linda, and everybody felt bad about Linda.
yes,
And that's why you had them come to you at work
exactly.
instead of you going to them, right?
Yes,
And then finally, when you were asked those questions on 192, you see that? Mm-hmm. Yes?
I'm familiar, yes.
Okay. You didn't tell the police on Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? And your answer was, yes, I did. Then you told that to the police, that there was a weapon. I told them there was an assault, that she told me that she had a gun. Then you were asked some follow-up questions, right? The ones I read you. And you were pressed a little more. You told the police that there was a gun involved in the incident, ma'am, are you sure? They specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew there were any firearms.
Fine, or would he?
She's with me at
just went
192 and
over this.
193.
Okay. Is there a specific inconsistent statement you're trying to get
Yes.
at? Okay.
I'm just pressing, she got pressed and then admitted the truth under oath that you told them that I knew there were guns in the house. And that was your testimony under
So
oath.
the guns is where you're getting hung up? Because I told him she had a gun.
Excuse me. You said that I knew there were guns in the house under oath, correct?
Yes,
Thank you. I don't have anything else, thank you.
You told him that because Linda told you she had a gun in the house.
yes.
And what's your objection?
Formal, leading.
Oh, wow, it's already been covered, though.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I just want to be clear, I think it got lost in the translation here. Did you want it to appear the police were coming to you instead of you going to the police?
Yes,
And that's what you were trying to accomplish?
yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Jerry, do you have any questions of her? None? Okay, thank you, ma'am. You're excused from your subpoena. Any objection to excusing her, counsel?
Yes, I'd ask that she please be excused from subpoena.
No problem.
Okay, you're all done. Thank you, ma'am. Yep.
Thank you.